Hi guys, we're going to talk about descriptive writing again today. No surprise there. So we are going to talk about a different type. We're kind of done with haikus now. We're going to talk about a different type of descriptive writing. We're still keeping it super short. We're just going to go with a little different style for the next couple days. So we're still trying to answer the question, when should I be descriptive? And what we want to think about is not just when to be descriptive, but how to add description to your writing without making it super long. So remember, we're not asking you for paragraphs. We want descriptive word choice, and we still want it to be concise. All right, so I have this quote here for you that just says, vigorous writing is concise. A sentence should contain no unnecessary words, a paragraph, no unnecessary sentences, for the same reason that a drawing should have no unnecessary lines and a machine no unnecessary parts. This requires not that the writer make all his sentences short, or that he avoid all detail and treat his subjects only in outline, but that every word tells. So that's kind of our mindset for the next few assignments, as it was for our haiku assignments as well. So short sentences, short phrases, sometimes not even complete sentences, but really making sure every word in that sentence counts. So let's talk about some ways we can do this. Okay, concise writing is brief and precise, but that doesn't mean it has to be dull and dry. Okay, if you lose focus, you end up with cumbersome, awkward, or disjointed writing. So the main thing you want to do is brainstorm or create an outline. So this is why we took that whole day in class to kind of brainstorm some word choice for our haikus. When we get stuck, we can look back on those brainstorms, and maybe a word helps trigger something in our mind that's a little bit more creative, that helps us get back on track. We're going to do the same thing today with this other assignment that we're going to do with descriptive writing. You guys are going to take some time to brainstorm before you submit your final piece that you are going to be graded on. So you want to be precise. Concrete word choice equals clearer writing. Okay, this is kind of what Mrs. Oland and I were talking about not being verbose. Being verbose means adding a ton of words. You don't want to just add a ton of adjectives to make your writing more descriptive. We really want to be precise in the words we choose. So a lot of people get caught in the trap of just using big words. They go to a thesaurus, they pick out all of the big words that they can find, and they think this will impress their teacher. But generally, the opposite effect is actually true, because first of all, you're probably using the words incorrectly. They might not make sense for the context. And we also know that those aren't your true words. So be careful how frequently you use a thesaurus or, words that you didn't come up with on your own. We want simple, straightforward language. And then that well-placed vocabulary. So that's kind of what we've been talking about throughout this entire descriptive writing unit so far. It's really not about how long your sentence is, but it's about the words you use and where you place them. And then you just want to know your audience. So I have this funny little Friends clip for you. If you're a Friends fan, you probably know what this is based on what it says at the top. It's when Monica and Chandler ask him to write an adoption letter when they're trying to adopt a child. So you'll kind of see what might happen if you fall into the trap of writing with a thesaurus and using words that you don't really know what they mean. Oops. Let's go back.
Adoption agency needs letters of recommendation, and we were wondering if you would write one for us.
Of course, I'd be honored.
Thanks. Thank you.
I think there's been an oversight.
Sure, we would have asked you. We just thought you wouldn't be interested.
Yeah, it's just that we don't think of you as really being so much with the words.
Wait, oh, hey.
Clearly, we were wrong.
Look, I got a lot of nice stuff to say about you guys, okay? And I know how much you want to have a baby, and I would love to help you get one.
You know what? Then, Joey, we want you to do it.
Thank you. All right, let me see how I'm going to start.
Dear baby adoption decider people.
So excited about your letter.
What you working on?
Oh, Monica and Chandler's recommendation. I want it to sound smart, but I don't know any big words or anything, so.
Well, why don't you use your thesaurus?
What'd I just say?
Watch. Here, you highlight the word you want to change, go under tools, and the thesaurus gives a whole list of choices. You can pick the word that sounds smartest.
Oh my God, that's great. I'm smart. No, I'm brainy, bright, clever. I love this thing. Look out, ladies. Joey Tribbiani's got the whole package.
Don't understand.
Some of the words a little too sophisticated for you.
It doesn't make any sense.
Well, of course it does. It's smart. I used a thesaurus.
On every word?
Yep.
All right, what was this sentence originally?
Oh, they are warm, nice people with big hearts.
And that became their humid, prepossessing Homo sapiens with full-sized aortic pumps.
Yeah. And hey, I really mean it, dude.
All right, Joey, I don't think we can use this.
Why not?
Well, because you signed it Baby Kangaroo Tribbiani. Honey, why don't you stop worrying about sounding smart and just be yourself?
You know what? You don't need a thesaurus. Just write from here. Your full-sized aortic pump.
All right, so obviously the point there is that his letter completely loses meaning once he changes all the words because he doesn't actually know what they mean. And just because it's a good replacement word for a word that you originally had doesn't mean the meaning and context is the same. So that's really what you want to think about. So again, you want to avoid super long sentences in your writing. You want to stay within the word limit. For our haikus, we were trying to stay within that syllable limit. For today's assignment, it's going to be a word limit. So we're going to kind of change mindsets there. In the future, when we actually start writing lengthier passages that you guys are going to submit with descriptive writing, you'd want to vary your sentence length. And then just to drive home one more time, please do not use a thesaurus for each word in a sentence because it definitely will lose its meaning. You want to make sure you're not being redundant as well. If you read through your writing and you notice that there is a lot of redundancy or you're using multiple different adjectives to describe the same thing, you want to go through and cross out those extra words because having 4 adjectives describe a noun probably is not going to give us a better picture of that noun. It's just going to be redundant, which is repetitive. We're looking for quality over quantity. So you'll notice throughout this entire unit that everything we're asking for is really short. Even the longest extended writing piece that you are going to turn in for us is only going to be about 250 words, which is like a quarter to half of a page. So you guys are not going to be writing anything super long for us because we're looking for quality. We're not just looking for how much you can write, but we really want to make sure what you do write is quality. And then in order to cut out redundancy, add concrete details, facts, or examples instead of rehashing the same points. And then again, when you're looking at that final draft, you want to go through and slash unnecessary words and phrases that you don't need, that don't add any more information. So that leads us to today's assignment that we're going to be working on for the next couple days. You guys are going to be writing 6-word memoirs. I know sometimes in freshman year and sophomore year, you might have done these as well, but we're going to kind of elevate them and take them to the next level, especially with some of the figurative language that we've been working on the last couple days. So I have some examples for you. The first is kind of the most famous 6-word memoir example. It says, once asked to write a full story in 6 words, legend has it that novelist Ernest Hemingway responded, for sale, baby shoes, never worn. So think about what this story might be. If this is the entire story, we have no more context. We have a couple different things we could think about. How many of you immediately thought that the baby died by reading that sentence? Initially, that was my reaction. I'm not sure why I went negative right away, but I initially thought, wow, that's super sad. The baby probably never got an opportunity to wear the shoes bought for him or her. But then a student brought to my attention, maybe the baby was just bigger than the parents thought when he or she was born, so the baby just grew out of the shoes or never fit in the shoes to begin with. And this is actually what the story is actually about. So Ernest Hemingway wrote a story about this giant baby who grows extremely fast and is like bigger than the average baby and really bigger than the average human. And that's why the baby couldn't fit into the shoes. But initially, a lot of people go to this, sadder explanation of that 6-word memoir. So let's talk about a couple other examples. Comedian Stephen Colbert, I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with him, but he does one of the late night shows. His 6-word memoir would be, well, I thought it was funny. Writer Robin Templeton said, after Harvard had baby with crackhead. And then essayist Chuck Klosterman said, nobody cared, then they did. Why? So one of the things I want to draw your attention to most with all of these examples, if we go back to Ernest Hemingway's, you'll notice the punctuation. We have a colon, we have a comma. In these next few that I showed you, all of them have some sort of punctuation in them, commas, question marks. And that's really what you need to rely on when writing a 6-word memoir. You need to make sure that you're placing punctuation appropriately throughout your 6-word memoir to really give meaning. We have questions. Again, we had the colon used in Ernest Hemingway's, and that allows you to write fragmented sentences instead of complete sentences correctly with that punctuation. So again, because we're limiting your words, you only have 6 words to tell your whole story, you have to rely on punctuation to help divide up your sentence. So now Mrs. Oland and I are going to ask you guys to do a couple 6-word memoirs for us. Okay, on Canvas, if you go to Canvas, you should find an assignment called 6-word memoirs, and it will have you open up a document that looks like this. When you get to this document, we want you to obviously read the directions, but we're going to go through this with you quickly now, just in case. It says, write a 6-word memoir answering each of the following questions, then rewrite them in a new way. So you're writing the same 6-word memoir twice, okay? Because we want you to brainstorm with word choice, punctuation, and figurative language. So for instance, for me, my first example here for the question, what were you like as a child? I wrote constantly getting hurt, semicolon, another ER trip. That would be my 6-word memoir. So I would have that here in this first box. And then in the second box, I would try to reword this using some different word choice instead of using these same words, still only using 6 words, but maybe pick some different word choice, place punctuation in some different places, try to add figurative language if it fits. And then I would have 2 options to choose from. Okay, same things with these other ones. The next question is, who is the most important person in your life? And I have my example there. And what are you most proud of? And again, I have my example there. So in each of these cases, I would write my first attempt here, my second attempt here, but it's going to the same 6-word memoir. I'm not writing 6 different memoirs. I'm writing 3 different and then revising them in the second box so that tomorrow when we ask you to do an assignment with it, you have 2 options to choose from for each of the boxes. All right, so find this on Canvas. This is what you need to be working on today. Mrs. Oland and I are in our live Google Meet. If you have questions, please feel free to pop in. If you want to talk to us about your 6-word memoirs and just kind of work them out together, we would be happy to do that with you. Otherwise, once you finish this and get it submitted, that's your only work for class today. Again, let us know if you need help. We're here for you. And see you tomorrow. Live class tomorrow. Don't forget.